Our next clip is another example of this. This clip comes from the Power Strategy webinar, whereon Rich takes insider questions live. A dentist wants to know how to go after the file drawers and file drawers full of patients with uncompleted treatment plans. Read, cha-ching! Let's listen in as Rich reminds the insider that marketing should be in place before they ever get to the dentist chair. Number man, please.
Number 6.
My wife just yesterday was saying to me that our pool, we've lived in this house now going on 8 years. She says, it looks like the pool is going to need to be resurfaced. And I'm thinking, crap, how much is that going to cost? Stupid pool? Why does it have to be resurfaced? And inevitably, it's going to be a lot of money, and it's going to just, throw other plans in the toilet. So this is what happens to people when they go to the dentist. They get there without really any expectation that it's going to be additional treatment plans. So we've talked before, and I know that you've already gone through this in extreme detail about the importance of a pre-positioning package specifically to fight this. Because here's what I really don't want to have happen, and I'm approaching this from a different angle. Instead of saying, well, what can we do to get them back, I'm saying, what can we do to keep them from putting off the treatment in the first place? And I think a pre-positioning package could help there. All I want to do in that pre-positioning package is I want to have this conversation in a very quick and easy to digest way, which is, hey, you're coming in for the dentist, and, sometimes we find things that need to be done, and you can probably understand that because obviously we're dentists, and sometimes you need dental work. It's just the nature of teeth. What sometimes people aren't expecting is that it does cost money, so, we're going to want to check your insurance, of course, but just be aware that if there are additional treatment plans, that we have financing options available, and there's some things that we can do to minimize that. You don't necessarily have to pay for it all in one big chunk. So just know when you come in that if there are things that need to be done, that we can work with you on that. So if they come in with that kind of a mindset, that $2,000 new air conditioner, or in this case tooth, isn't going to be quite as shocking. So let's just put that aside. I did want to mention that. I think it's valuable. But now let's get to the real question, which is, okay, well, they're not here. We talked about they're scared. We talked about the money. Even if we do the pre-positioning, there's just going to be some reality of, hey, great, I just don't have that much money. Timing is an issue. And then I think this is a huge one. It's not urgent. The dentist says you need to get this done, and you're thinking, well, it doesn't hurt, so what's the big deal? Now, all of these 4 things combined are leading to the biggest one, which is people then just forget about it. So they have this initial concern, which may be one or more of these 4 things we just talked about: scared, money, time, and not urgent. And then the real one is, okay, because of those issues, I sort of put it out of sight, out of mind, and now it's low on my priority list. So all we want to do is get it higher on their priority list. So let's take a look at the numbers. If we can get 25% of the business to come in, now when I say 25% in this example, I mean 25% more than would just normally come in anyway. Okay, so we're talking about either people that didn't come in a reasonable amount of time. Obviously, if you give treatment plans, I don't know what your conversion ratio is, but you're going to have some natural conversion ratio of issuing a treatment plan to people actually coming in to do it. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about people that we have to go after, okay? But if we could liberate that money, it's $1 million in sales. There's no marketing cost against that other than whatever we decide to do. So the question becomes, how much of that are you willing to spend? Again, this is not your practice numbers here. This is just an example. But if it was $1 million, here's the question. How much of that would you be willing to spend? What do you think, Tammy, for your practice?
It's tricky, right? Because it depends on what your profit line is. So, I mean, you could...
Naturally. So here's a good way to start the discussion. I kind of treat it like an auction. Would you be willing to spend $1,000?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. How about $2,000? And, we could go through this whole process to get to, different numbers. But here's why we go through this process. Because in your situation, as well as in others that are selling on the back end to customers that did not convert, I look at dentists really as the cleaning and the appointment is really just them paying you a little bit of money to upsell them to things that are more profitable. Now, that sounds very capitalistic and business-like, and dentists don't want to think of themselves like that. But the reality is, if I can just get them in the chair and upsell them, then there's the real money in this business. So I kind of look at it, we have, I know, Tammy, that you're aware that we have a lot of remodeling contractors. I look at the cleaning appointment really the same as the in-home estimate. So I'm just going to give you a quote on what you really need. So anytime you've got a situation where you've got unsold business that you've quoted but they didn't buy it yet, here's what I found. You could almost always afford to spend more money than you thought.
Allowable marketing cost. How much money are you willing to spend per lead? A large part of marketing is in the math. It isn't just a guessing game. Besides, with testing and focused marketing, you don't have to spend a fortune to fine-tune your messaging.